Hi everybody, welcome to Fear Food Fixes. Today we are going to tackle one of my very favorite foods. I serve them all the time at dinner parties, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, "Oh, can I have mine without the mushrooms?" Or, "Do you have anything else? I don't eat mushrooms." Alright, look at these. They are gorgeous! Yes, it looks like a brain, and it did come off of a rotting log, which probably had centipedes and slugs all over it, but these are absolutely delicious, and they're very good for you. Here's the reason you've always hated mushrooms. They were cooked incorrectly, you left them in your fridge too long, and they made the entire thing smell like an aquarium, or somebody just put them with a sauce you didn't like. Because, look at this part of it. It has tiny gills. Do you see all those tiny gills? This is what makes a mushroom so spongy. And that means that it soaks up whatever flavor you're pairing it with. So if somebody put it in a gross sauce, it soaked up all that flavor and tasted yucky. Otherwise, if you've had them cooked incorrectly, such as in a sauce, boiled in a sauce, they're going to develop a rubbery, slug-like texture, and nobody wants to eat that. I don't blame you for not liking mushrooms. Or if you let them go bad and they developed a white fuzz, they get a really strong smell. Worse even than when you leave broccoli in the fridge. It makes it smell like your fridge is the basement of a funeral home. So gross. Buy them 2, 3, maximum 4 days before you want to use them. Also, if you've mostly been using white button mushrooms, branch out a bit. This one is an oyster mushroom. It's so delicious. It's really a completely different animal from your average white salad mushroom. Also, mushrooms, because they have a meaty texture, are best cooked. If you've been eating them raw off the salad bar, it's no wonder you didn't like them. So we're going to cook these as though they were meat, and that's how we're going to get a perfect mushroom. So let me show you how we're going to do that. Alright, I'm going to slice these mushrooms in a way that's going to get them as flat to the pan as possible. We want to cut them as though they were a steak, and we're also going to sear them, kind of like you might a piece of meat. And the sauce that we're going to pair these with is just browned butter. Because that spongy little mushroom is going to get browned butter soaking into each and every little piece. And if you know someone who doesn't like the flavor of browned butter, you don't want them coming over for dinner anyway. Who doesn't love butter? So as you can see, I've already browned my butter, and I've clarified it, which means I've scooped out all the milk solids. This is super easy to do. You just put a big old hunk of butter in the pan, and you let it bubble and bubble and bubble till it forms a foam. The foam will disappear, reappear as a thicker, more solid foam. Scoop that off or pour your butter through a strainer, and then you have a jar of clarified browned butter in your fridge. What is so good about clarified browned butter? Well, it has a much higher cooking heat, so it won't scorch and it won't burn your mushrooms. And it has no lactose in it. So even if you're lactose intolerant or you have someone who's coming to your party, they can enjoy the delicious flavor of butter in their food. So I've made my cooking liquid, which is just brown butter. I'm going to lay my mushrooms flat down in the pan, try to cover the bottom of the pan with the mushrooms, but not overcrowd it, because otherwise they won't sear. Just like with steak, you put too many pieces of steak in the pan and they won't cook. So I'm going to leave these for the next batch. Then I'm going to teach you a really cool cooking trick. I have a stainless steel bowl, so it will not get hurt by the heat. Plastic bowl will not work. You'll melt it all over your mushrooms, and it'll be gross. You want to press it down, because a mushroom, not being a piece of meat, doesn't have any juices that you're going to lose by squishing it. And what squishing it is going to do is going to give you that beautiful golden crust that you usually see on a steak. I'm going to flip those over now with a pair of tongs. I have the pan on medium heat, so they're getting golden, but they're not going to burn. Oh my gosh, look at the color on these. They are so pretty. All right. So then we're going to take our pan and we're going to squish the other side just briefly to get a nice sear. You should absolutely use this trick when you have somebody over who you want to impress because they'll have never seen it before and think you're awesome. We're going to add just a tiny bit of salt because my brown butter was made with salted butter. If you use unsalted butter, you can add a little more salt, but I don't want to oversalt my mushrooms because that will make them shrivel. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh tarragon to the pan. I add this at the end because I don't want to ruin the herb by overcooking it. I want it to be kind of fresh. Toss these around a bit, just like that. I'm going to add fresh cracked black pepper. I know I've said this before, but if you have any other kind of pepper in your kitchen, throw it away. Fresh cracked pepper is the only kind you should be messing around with. So I've removed my perfect golden brown mushrooms from the pan. Look at these. They are such a beautiful color. And you're almost going to hear a crunch when I bite into this, I promise. It is more like fried chicken than they do like a mushroom. There is nothing reminiscent of your squishy, chewy mushroom sauce mushroom in here. And I know what you're all thinking. But I've had mushroom sauce all the time. They have mushroom sauce at restaurants. Everybody does mushroom sauce. You can absolutely do mushroom sauce. But you cook your mushrooms separately and then fold them into the sauce. If you boil them into the sauce, it's like boiling a steak in sauce. Your steak turns to rubber, your mushrooms turn to rubber. Do not cook them in the sauce. Now, we still have our hot pan here. We are going to add some vinegar to that, white wine vinegar, to deglaze it. Woohoo! That was exciting. Add a little more. We're going to add a little olive oil or avocado oil, whichever you prefer. Both of those are great for salad dressings, which is what this is going to be. I'm going to add just a pinch more salt. Some more black pepper. Swirl it around. Drizzle it over my mushrooms because my mushrooms are actually going to dress my salad. They are my salad dressing. And I'm going to serve this immediately because you don't want to let that cooking liquid soak into the mushrooms and turn them into mush. I'm going to stick them right on the salad and eat them. But before I do that, I'm going to add my secret mushroom enhancer. I know you've heard of truffles. Truffles are incredibly expensive. So if I put a whole bunch of truffles on my salad, it'd be like a $9,000 salad. So I'm not going to do that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy this $4 bottle of extract. I'm going to spray my mushrooms with it about 10 times. There's about 160 sprays in this bottle. So if you work that out, my salad dressing cost me a couple of cents, maybe a quarter. It does not cost you very much to use spray truffle essence. Much better than buying the oil or the salt or the actual mushrooms and grating them into your salad because boy oh boy, if your name's not Rockefeller, that'd be expensive. Absolutely gorgeous. So I have my little plate of lettuce right here. I'm going to give myself a few of the mushrooms, kind of using them as like a healthier crouton. Rather than pieces of bread soaked in butter, I've got delicious vitamin-rich mushrooms soaked in butter. I'm going to pour a little bit of that olive oil and vinegar mixture on my salad. I love black pepper, so I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of that. And then it's done. Very simple salad. Completely and utterly delicious. Let's give this a try. I'll take a small bite so I can still talk to you, but I kind of want to take a big bite because it looks so delicious. Mmm. Oh my goodness. so good. I think I made myself too small of a salad. I was gonna have it next to my lunch. I think I'll just have it as my lunch. This is so good. Now, you may be skeptical if you don't like mushrooms because you're like, you know what, I really hate mushrooms. I'm not gonna try this recipe. Here's a secret. When my husband and I met and first started dating, he hated mushrooms. He didn't tell me this. And so on our first date, we went to a restaurant. I ordered a grilled portobello mushroom and roasted pepper sandwich, and he ordered a burger. I said, want to split 50-50? He assumed I was talking about the check, so he said, sure, that's a great idea, because splitting the check sounded awesome to him. No, I was talking about the food. So when the food came and I cut my sandwich in half, he was super confused and then horrified. But I didn't find out until a year later that he hated mushrooms because he didn't want to offend me on our first date. After a year, he confessed to me that he hated them when I kept cooking them over and over again. And he said, you know what, actually I throw up usually when I eat mushrooms. I'm not going to eat this. And I said, hey, just try it. Just try it. So he tried my fabulous mushroom dish, and he didn't throw up. And after that, he has absolutely loved mushrooms. And we make them 3 or 4 times a week. So if I can convert a man who used to projectile vomit after eating mushrooms, I'm sure I can convert you. Join me next week on Fear Food Fixes. And don't forget to post your fear food in the comments section. I'd be happy to tackle it.